my name is Elizabeth Easter and I'm a speech language pathologist. I currently work in the public schools and I work with students from preschool through high school. Today I'm going to be talking about a strategy I use often in my speech therapy sessions to help with language skills, literacy skills, and just communication and connection, and that's shared book reading. Shared book reading is a great activity to do at home because all you'll need is a book, and the most important part about shared book reading is it should be a book your child likes and is familiar with. So a book that they read often or enjoy is a great choice for shared book reading, and it's a great way to build both literacy skills and language skills, as well as just connect with your child and give them a fun little time with you to share their thoughts and feelings about what you guys are working on together. So let's get started. I'm going to walk you through the steps of shared book reading so that you're prepared to give your child a really rich language environment, as well as create any common pitfalls or things that might be difficult for you. Shared book reading is not difficult at all. It just takes a little bit of planning and preparation, so I'll walk you through each of the steps. Step number 1 is to choose a book that your child is engaged in. It's a book that they really like. So for shared book reading, we're not necessarily quizzing or asking, what happened then? What happened next? It's more about making comments and connections on the pages and what's in front of us. So I highly recommend that you choose a book that your child enjoys and wants to interact with. It can be on a topic itself, so if your child really likes Frozen, pick a Frozen book, or a dinosaur book if they really like dinosaurs. It can also be a book that you've read a lot as a family, or it can also be a new book. I recommend either picking a book from your library that you have at home, or another way, if your child is bored of those books or you need different books, is a great website called Epic. Epic Books is either available on an iPad or tablet and is also available on the internet, so you can create a free account. Many students in districts already have Epic Books accounts, so I'd recommend reaching out to your child's teacher. But if not, at this time, Epic Books does offer a free trial for parents to give it a shot, and they have some really great books out here. They have books on different topics that your child can read themselves. They have books that are popular series, so like the Bernstein Bears, Pete the Cat, Magic School Bus. So those are really great things to take a look at. So if your child is really interested in a particular topic, that would be a great choice for shared book reading. The goal for shared book reading is to create opportunities for communication and connection. So if your child really enjoys that, they're going to be much more likely to talk to you and share what they're thinking. So I strongly recommend you choose a book that your child is interested in. Another book that you might want to choose is a book that has repetitive vocabulary, simple vocabulary, core vocabulary, especially if your child is learning to read or if your child's an AAC user. So looking at books that use core vocabulary or have repeated questions and answers are really great. Some books for that are Brown Bear, What Do You See? Because it asks the same question over and over again, so your child can predict and repeat the question with you. Books like If You Give a Mouse a Cookie or the rest of that series talks a lot about household objects and silly situations that kids can really enjoy and like to talk about. And then the books Know David in that series is awesome because that uses lots of great core vocabulary like no, stop, go, things like that. Really repetitive and frequently used vocabulary. So that's a great thing to think about as well if you have those books available to you or if you're using a resource like Epic. The next step to shared book reading and make sure it is successful is for you first to review the book on your own. Make sure you've read the book before, you know what happens on each page, and you are prepared to talk about it. In shared book reading, we might not read every single word on the page. So for example, if I were to do a shared book reading on Where the Wild Things Are, this is a book that some of the students I work with are very familiar with because we've read the story before. And we've even done some activities of retelling the story. So we might, instead of reading each and every word on this page, we might instead talk about the pictures and make comments on what's happening. So for example, on this page, the night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind, we can, instead of reading that sentence, we can talk about what he's doing. So he's hammering, he looks mad, he's dressed up in a costume. saying things like that, making those comments and those connections. Like, for example, when do we wear costumes? Oh, we wear costumes on Halloween. So things like that are really more important than maybe reading every single word on the page. Something I do recommend that you may or may not want to do is when you're reviewing that book is possibly make a sticky note and put that on the book of what you want to talk about on each page, because it can be a lot to remember, especially if you have a lot of children running around, or you can get easily distracted. If you have a rough idea and you've written it down of what you want to say on a sticky note, maybe putting it on the back of the book or on each page, that can be really great at giving you a guide of what to do. Another important thing to do when you're doing shared book reading is set up the scene for success. So choosing a spot that is maybe a little bit quieter, or you have a nice comfy place to sit, maybe on the couch, the floor, the bed, wherever your child might want to sit next to you. And I do recommend that your child is next to you versus in front of you. So a lot of class read-alouds are going to have the teacher or the paraprofessional or parent sitting and then opening the book like this to explore each and every page. But I really like it when students sit next to me, so we can look at the book together and share the book together, so I can see what they're looking at and pointing at. So I do recommend that as well. And then also making sure that you don't expect your child to sit down for too long, especially considering their age. We don't want a kid to be sitting for 30 minutes in an activity. That's probably too long. They're not going to be enjoying it anymore. So thinking about maybe 10 to 15 minutes. And if your child doesn't want to sit next to you the whole time, maybe they want to stand, maybe they want to move from the floor to the couch, or the couch to the floor to the bed, whatever works for you. But as long as you can engage them in the book and they're still enjoying what's happening, that would be perfect. So once you have picked your book that your child is really interested in, reviewed the book, and you know what you want to say about it on each and every page, and you've set up with your child that it's a chance to read and explore a book together, you're ready to start shared reading. Reminders before you get started. When we're doing shared book reading, it's not a question and answer session. I'm not asking like, what color is the ball? Or what did they do after they ate lunch? That's more about comprehension and making sure a kid was paying attention to the story. We're more making connections. We're talking about the pictures on each page. We're thinking about how maybe we felt when we see that character doing a situation that they might be getting in trouble in. Or we're thinking about a time that we felt that way, or making a connection to something we've maybe read before, or a movie or TV show we've watched. So it's about making comments and connections. So saying, I like that, or I don't like that, or that's good, or that's bad. Even really simple things like he's going up or he's going down. Those are connections of great concepts that occur across stories and daily activities. So making sure that you're prepared to do more of a communication enrichment rather than a quiz. That'll help improve your child's participation in the shared book reading activity. It'll also help them with their language skills, because you're showing them how to interact with a book and to talk about books. Reading, make sure to pause on each page and give the child a chance to talk, because you've prepared it so well, you know what you want to say on every page, but this might be your child's first time getting to talk about the book with you, so making sure you give them a chance to respond to what you're saying. So for example, for this one, I like to say like, he has a crown, I think he's the king. And I pause and I wait and I let the student or the child tell me how they think or what they see. Make sure you pause and give your child a chance to explore. Another thing you can do that I recommend is let your child decide when it's time to turn the page. That's a great way to get them engaged and invested in both the story and talking about it. So making sure you give them the opportunity to talk and share their thoughts as well. And to really work on your child's language and communication skills, when they're talking about the page, make sure you're expanding on what they say. So for example, your child might say, he swing, and then you can recast or so repeat what they've said with more words or improve the grammar of how they said it. So saying, he's swinging on the tree. I would maybe say if your child said, he's swinging, you can say, yeah, he is swinging on the tree. That's a great way to expand. Or if he just says swing, you can say Max is swinging. So making sure we're expanding maybe 1 to 3 words beyond what your child is saying, but not going too far beyond that. Finally, after you've been working through the book, talking about each page, drive to the end of the book. And so I always like to say, like, wow, my favorite part is when Max became the king of the wild things. I liked it. And then maybe giving the book to your child and letting them explore a favorite page or a favorite part. So I have a lot of students who really like that there's cake in this picture. So even if that's not necessarily what's important about the story, it's what's important to the child. So making sure you're saying, like, yeah, that was a good part, or oh, I like that too. And that's another great opportunity to make a connection to your child's life. So if they're talking about something they really liked, you can maybe connect it to something that happened in their life that is similar to what they liked in the story. So maybe it's, oh, I like his cars. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of cars too. It's fun to play. So there you have it, everyone. Those are the steps to shared book reading. As I said, it's pretty simple. Step 1 is to choose a book that your child really likes or is engaged in. Step 2 is read and review the book on your own so you know what happens and can be prepared to talk about it. Step 3 is giving your child a chance to respond and to interact with the book itself, so making sure to pause. Step 4 is recasting or expanding what your child says on each page into a complete sentence. And then finally, step 5 is to review the book and say, did I like it? Did I not like it? So that helps take place of reflecting on the book together. I hope this video was helpful for you guys and that you can go on out and do some great shared book reading experiences with your child.